What's the deal, fam? Let's talk Benny the Butcher's Everybody Can't Go. First thing, let's keep it a buck. This is a mixtape with a Def Jam logo on it. It is what it is. Not a great album, not bad, but Benny lied to us. And let's forget the whole DMX tweet and all of that about having the hottest Def Jam album since It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. I was under the impression, based on the way he was speaking, that he matured and figured out how to craft an album. And that's not the case. We got some solid joints on here, the intro, but that's just straight rapping. Everybody knows he can do that. Put on a beat, let him go crazy. That's his lane, I suppose. But if you go down the track list, there's only a few good songs on here. Everybody Can't Go is cool. Trust is More Valuable Than Love is phenomenal. I love the fact that he utilized a medley because he's not a descriptive writer, so breaking it down to 3 short stories, switching up the beats, keeps the listeners engaged. That was very mature and phenomenal, and I was very impressed by that. 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out is cool. But I don't know, man. This album, I sat with it for a couple of days. I didn't want to jump on here too soon and come across as a hater, but this isn't it. Hit Boy and Alchemist are listed as producers on the album. But in theory, if you really think about it, they're just beat makers. If you go by the work they've been putting in the last couple of years, if they had free reins, this album would have been so much better. What I mean by that is, Everybody Can't Go. That's a theme right there. Where the skits, interludes, beat outros. It's none of that. That's why it feels like a mixtape, a bunch of songs just thrown together. Could you imagine someone like a Dre or the old Ye or No ID, or even Alchemist or Hit Boy, if they were giving like executive producer freedom, this album would have been 10 times better. Tell me I'm lying. Listening to the album, it's like Benny is a great rapper, but he lacks soul, and soul isn't a genre or a sound. It's like the ability to keep listeners captivated or engaged. Like when you think about Conway, The Cow, or Jay, You Must Love Me, or Fonte, You're So Far Away From Me, or Common, It's Your World, Nas, Dance. I don't really get that from Benny, and when you're putting together an album, you have to be vulnerable in the state, right? Subject matter, it's the same old, every single track. It's the same old thing. Also, the sequencing isn't very good either. If you think about it, the intro is fire, then you go into Braun, and then Big Dog. Back-to-back singles sequenced on an album, your first 2 singles pretty much. So that almost leads to passive listening because people have heard those records already. And in my estimation, Braun I liked that, that was cool. I wasn't a big fan of Big Dog, but to have those tracks back-to-back, I don't know if there's a science behind it, but it felt like I was just waiting for track 4 to come on, you know what I'm saying? When you're in album mode, these type of things should be obvious. I don't think some of these dudes are students of the game. They're good at rapping, but do you really listen to albums and see how they were crafted? The pros and cons of decision making, like, I just don't gather that from this album. It just feels like he just did exactly what he wanted to do. Had us thinking it was gonna be something that it wasn't, just because it was on Def Jam. Another thing that I mentioned in a short that I did yesterday, why do you keep on The Alchemist getting the same old gothic, sinister 4-bar loops? This man is a phenomenal producer. It feels like nobody taps into that. They get the same thing over and over and over. And I felt like if you would have broke the monotony and switched it up, it would have added some different layers to this album. But you can't blame the producer for that because that's what the MC chose. And why would you end the album like that? You're supposed to end an album with a statement. But it felt like he departed in cruise control. It's just so many missed opportunities, man. I hate to come across as that guy, but I'm just not hearing what most people are hearing. That leads me to my final point. I'm seeing people type album of the year. How? Fam, we're only 29 days into the new year. And on top of that, how many albums have dropped this year? We gotta stop using that term so early on, especially when it's not an epic piece of work fresh out the gate. Like, I know that we're fans of specific artists, but sometimes we allow what we want to get in the way of what it really is. And this album is cool, It's not great. I don't see myself calling this a classic today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. It's more the same. That's just my take. I know some people want to say he's a hater because y'all been conditioned to feel that way. Let me know what you think in the comment section, man. You feeling Everybody Can't Go? What's your favorite tracks? What are some things you would have changed? It's your man Eeze, the Eeze Experience. Let me know. Go get your shit.
Hey, yo, Eeze.